Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour. This is Sunday, and it's not any better, folks. It's getting worse. Of course, the war just broke out again, and we all know that Trump is compromised. We know that Netanyahu basically controls him. You got the Epstein files, you have all these things, and now you have this war that was planned a long time ago. And yes, once again, the U.S. doesn't care about a ceasefire. They want to accomplish their mission, i.e., Netanyahu. So listen closely because it's happening right now and it could affect the entire world because of a few people that believe they could control another country.
The worse the internet connection becomes.
Right.
Yeah, so I was saying that throughout, so these Arab, I didn't know where I got cut off, but in the 1980s, these Arab family dictatorships, they supported Saddam Hussein against Iran alongside the West. And then they helped the West overthrow Libya and Syria during the so-called Arab Spring. And all these dictatorships that were pro-West remained in place, using al-Qaeda literally a decade after 9/11. Then, of course, but when the Americans struck Iran, or the Israelis and the Americans, Iran only struck Qatar and only the American base during the 12-day war. But in this war, the Americans have been using their territory, their airspace, their bases, not just American bases, but their bases, their civilian infrastructure, their ports against Iran. So they're waging war against Iran. So Iran was striking the Israeli regime 24 hours a day and night, for 40 days, the American assets, and then gradually when they started striking Iranian civilian infrastructure repeatedly, like critical infrastructure, Iran began to retaliate against critical infrastructure where the Americans and the Europeans had shares in these countries.
So think about that. We're over there bombing other countries, we the United States, a long ways away. And you have to know that, Saddam Hussein was an asset of the U.S. government. He was our friend until they decided to turn on him. They said that he had weapons of mass destruction. That was a lie. They blamed him for killing off the Kurds with bioweapons, except that bioweapons lab was built for the United States. Saddam was an asset until he becomes a liability. This is the game they play.
But now, without these family dictatorships, this war is not possible. It's just not doable. They need their airspace, they need their air bases, they need their land to wage war. So what is going to happen? As soon as the Americans strike, Iran is going to strike back. It will strike back and strike back hard. And from where I'm viewing things, I think that we are finally going to reach the point where the world moves towards a global depression. Because I do not see at all, I don't see the slightest chance that Iran will to accept U.S. demands. And I have no doubt that the United States will not be able to defeat Iran. But what the United States will probably do is that it will try to devastate the country. And which just shows how genocidal the United States is. It just shows how genocidal the collective West is, because Trump has been making genocidal statements about Iran for many days now, for weeks. It wasn't just about wiping out the civilization of the Iranian people. He spoke about obliterating Iran. He spoke about taking Iran back to the Stone Age. We never saw any outrage in the Western media. We didn't see any of these mainstream Western journalists outraged by these calls or these threats to wipe out the country. We never saw anything. Not from the Guardian, not from the Times, not from the New York Times, not from the Breitbart, from none of them. What we did see, Danny, and I don't know if you saw this, was that when the Iranian delegation was going to Pakistan, the Washington Post put up an editorial saying that that the negotiators should be murdered. They put up an opinion piece, the Washington Post. So the media, the journalists in the West, are competing with the state to promote crimes against humanity, war crimes. Just like in Lebanon, you see Western journalists in Beirut who are a bunch of criminals. They talk about Hezbollah strongholds and Hezbollah bases where everyone knows that they're bombing towns. Right now, as we speak, they're blowing up villages in the south and the areas that they've occupied, the Israeli regime. So just homes, people's homes. They're flattening it to make it look like Gaza. This is how monstrous they are, and this is how monstrous Western journalists in Beirut are. I spoke to two of them. They contacted me to get, I don't know, an opinion, or like a sentence or two, not a soundbite, but I think for like written. It may have been a soundbite, I don't know. But in any case, and I told both of them, why do you write strongholds? Why do you write Hezbollah targets? And both of them separately said more or less the same thing, that it wasn't us, it was our editor. And I told them both that you're complicit. I told both of them that you're complicit. It's in your name, so you're a war criminal, just like you're.
So you ask yourself the question, what's the gain here, folks? There's no gain. No gain at all. And Israel has been using hyperbaric bombs, which disintegrates people at 6,000 degrees. Imagine that. Imagine dropping bombs that liquidate life. This is how serious it is, folks. And so what we all need to do is you need to pick up your phone, you need to call whoever your representative is in whatever country and tell them to shut it down, because Iran is not the problem. The problem is Netanyahu. The problem is the West, who wants to finish what they've been plotting to do for how many years? Oh my God. You know, Iran's always the problem. No. Western aggression, Western dominance, the CIA and Mossad, they're the problem. And they've created these problems. Every war was based on aggression by the West. We weren't being attacked. Nobody was coming to America to get us. No, it's all about profiteering. And the last note is this. That's why all of the media in the United States is complicit in this. Complicit. So once it's all over, if there was ever an FCC, all of these networks should lose their license to broadcast, because they're complicit in this genocide, mass murder, and this war. They did not report the truth. They fabricated information to keep the American public in line. This is the Conscious Hour, folks. If you had enough, it's time to reach out to your elected officials. It's time to hit the like button, hit the share button, and please donate to the 501c3. We need to explode the ability for the Conscious Hour to get out there so I can start bringing people in and do what I do most, facilitate that dialogue and conversations to create solutions for complex problems. And boy, do we have them. That's why they call me the conductor. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like and share button, and please donate to the 501c3.